free to be whoever you want to be. Feel free to dance, feel free to sing, just feel free. Feels like the world is picking on ya. Feels like it's picking on me.
Wow. 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 A very rare Tuesday episode, but what choice do I have? Bombshell out of Nashville today, about an hour ago as of this recording. Mike Vrabel has been fired. Not traded. Not anything like that. He's been fired. He's gone. And after all of that speculation that we had yesterday and even beyond yesterday, we all thought Vrabel wants out. Vrabel wants out of here. Vrabel's trying to get traded. Vrabel wants to go to New England. At the end of the day, that ain't what it sounds like at all. At the end of the day, it appears Amy Strunk turned on Mike Vrabel. And I will say, a part of this that concerns me, I just hope that Miss Amy, I hope she's not too impulsive. Because, man, I know, it's been a tough couple of seasons for the Titans. I know we have trouble scoring points. We have trouble, with play calling at times. We've lost a heck of a lot more than we've won since November of 2022. I think the Titans are 6-23. Okay, I understand all of that, but this is a big move. This is a big move. A very drastic, and I told you guys, said Amy has done this before. Nobody thought she was going to fire Malarkey. She did it. Nobody thought she would fire John Robinson in the middle of the year. She did it. Nobody thought she would fire Mike Vrabel at the end of the season. She did it. I don't know how to feel, guys. I don't know how to feel. I'm on Twitter for the last hour, and it's like a bomb just went off. Because on my Two-Tone Talk Twitter, all I have is Titan stuff. It's the only thing on there. And people are just going nuts. People are shocked. Some people are happy. Some people are angry. Some people think it's the right move. Some people think it's the wrong move. And I'm just sitting here as the host of this podcast trying to figure out, how do I feel? Let me read you. I don't know if you guys have read. This is Miss Amy's statement that she made. Oh boy. As the NFL continues to innovate and evolve, I believe the teams best positioned for sustained success will be those who empower an aligned and collaborative team across all football functions. So, for those of you who saw the rumors that Vrabel was not on the same page with Rand and some of the others, that part of the statement appears to confirm that. Last year, we began a shift in our approach to football leadership and made several changes to our personnel to advance that plan. As I continued to assess the state of our team, I arrived at the conclusion that the team would also benefit from the fresh approach and perspective of a new coaching staff. She goes on to say, I believe the Tennessee Titans can and will be a premier National Football League franchise. It's what our fans deserve, and there will be hard decisions along the way. My decision today is not only listen to this part. My decision today is not only a reflection of my disappointment in our past 2 seasons, but also my recognition that further changes are necessary to fully achieve our vision. I will never shy away from acknowledging that I have unapologetically high expectations for the football team and every aspect of the Titans organization. Our vision is not simply to produce more. Now, this part I liked. I liked this part. She said, our vision is not simply to produce more wins than losses. It is to regularly compete for championships. While this season was disappointing, I see early signs of progress taking shape. Last year, we added a promising young quarterback and several other talented players to our roster. With a coaching search, inviolable cap space, and top 10 draft position, this offseason is as important as any in our history. I'm excited for the weeks and months ahead. We will meet the moment. That is from Amy Strunk, the owner of the Tennessee Titans. So let's try to break that down. First thing she did is confirm the rumors that this past year, bringing in Ran Carthon has not been a very collaborative effort. And she blames Vrabel for that. We all kind of heard the rumors. We suspected that. I believe that is Amy Strunk confirming that we want everybody on the same page, and it hasn't been that way. What could that mean? Well, maybe it could mean, we saw the Titans traded Kevin Byard before the trade deadline. And if you remember, there were a lot of players that were on the trade block for the Titans. Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Danico Autry, Tier Tart, and some others. And none of those players ended up being traded. So could it be that Ran wanted to trade those guys and Vrabel did not? That could be part of the problem. Could it be that there were certain people that Ran wanted to bring in? Maybe Ran wanted to approach it one way, Vrabel wanted another. I don't know. But what I will say is through that statement, how she started off by saying, I believe the best way forward is to have a collaborative process. And listen, it's hard when you already have a head coach, especially a head coach with as big a personality as Vrabel, and then you try to bring in a new GM. That can be difficult. You're pretty much telling Vrabel, hey, we've picked out a new person for you to work alongside of. And we know Vrabel loved him an in-house hire. Vrabel loved hiring guys, promoting guys from within. That was his way of going about it. And the rumors that Adam Schefter has even confirmed this. Vrabel wanted a guy from already within the Titans organization, the guy who was the interim once J-Rob was fired. He wanted him to be promoted to the full thing and was upset when they went to the outside and got Ran Carthon. Vrabel does not like bringing in outsiders. Neither does Bill Belichick. And before you hit me with how successful Bill Belichick has been, he also had the greatest quarterback in the history of the world quarterbacking his team, but I digress. But yeah, Amy confirms right off the bat, the best path forward is to have a collaborative process where everybody's on the same page. So immediately she says, we're not on the same page. We are. Vrabel's not with us. Okay, so she says that. Then she goes on to talk about her disappointment from the past 2 seasons. Last season, where the Titans finished the season on a 7-game losing streak, gave up a 4-game lead in the AFC South, and let Jacksonville come back and take the division from them. I'd say, yeah, that's disappointing. And then to follow it up this year with a 6-11 campaign where you've been out of playoff contention for the last month of the season. I get it. Yes, we're all disappointed. Fans, players, coaches, ownership, everybody's disappointed with the last 2 seasons. You're crazy if you're not disappointed. And, let me pull it up again. She said, this move is a reflection of my disappointment of the last 2 seasons and also my recognition that further changes are necessary to fully achieve our vision. And then, like I said, I liked the final part where she said she has high expectations for the football team. Uh, and I love what she said. Our vision is not just to produce more wins than losses. You know, she's saying we're not just here to go 9-8. We're not just here to go 10-7, squeak into the playoffs and be an easy out in the first round. We're not here to be what the Steelers are going to be this year. We're not here to do that. We are here to be like the Chiefs. We want to be like the Niners. We want to be, and the Niners are a great example because Rand Carthon came from San Francisco. We want to be like them. We want to be in the mix, contending for the whole thing every year. And hey, that's why she fired Malarkey years ago. She wanted to take the next step, didn't feel like he's the guy. So Vrabel took him a little further. Now she feels like Vrabel's not the guy. I think Vrabel's a good coach. I think that Vrabel is going to be somewhere else this year. He will be signed probably New England. Very well possibly New England, but I mean, crap, there's a lot of teams looking for coaches. If not New England, he will land somewhere else. And you know, I think he will do well. But and I already see some people in the comment section are saying this on YouTube, and I will echo this too. While I believe Vrabel is a good coach, I really do. Let's not act like he was the greatest. Because some of these tweets and stuff I'm seeing, you would think this guy has just done nothing but win since the second he got here. I get he knows ball. He knows the game. But, like, let's not act like it's just been all unicorns and rainbows. Okay? Because I've sat here all season. I know maybe that Jaguars game the other day kind of caused us to put on some rose-colored glasses. But, I mean, I've sat here every week banging my head against the wall while this offense scores 12 points, 13 points, 16 points. Like, you gotta, at some point, like, what are we doing? You know, and I'm not going to fault Amy for being fed up with that. I'm not going to fault Amy for being fed up with that. But at the same time, I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth. Because I have said all year, I felt like our number one problem was the roster. The roster was not very good. Offensive line, not very good. Secondary, not very good. But at the same time, it's what have we complained about with Vrabel for the last 2 years? Tends to be a very conservative approach to the game offensively. Tends to be a very, you know, I talked about it a few weeks ago, and those of you that listened and watched, you remember. We've got a team full of guys, we've got a roster full of guys who were undrafted, found on a practice squad, and then brought in to be hard workers and fly to the ball. And that's great. I love effort and flying to the ball. But we need some, like, studs in here. And I see a lot of people in the comments saying, oh, great, this means Derrick Henry's not coming back. Can I just drop this little news bit on you right now? Derrick Henry wasn't coming back. Did you see the way he conducted himself the other day? He gave a speech after the game. He got on social media afterwards and said, thank you, Nashville. Stayed for like 12 hours after the game, signing autographs and taking photos. Derrick Henry was not coming back anyway. He wasn't coming back. This firing of Vrabel is not the reason that Derrick Henry's not coming back. He wasn't coming back anyway. In my humble opinion. Now, I maybe the day will come. Maybe the day, because I'm still trying to work out how I feel about this. Titan Rossi, who you guys need to check out on YouTube and things like that. He says, I like the decision, honestly. Tired of this organization being stuck in the Stone Age offensively. It's time to get with the times. I mean, yeah, let's not act like we haven't all complained about that. Like, I know today, I think most people, and maybe even me, I think we're speaking out of fear. We're scared of going back to the Ken Wisenhunt days. We're scared of that. We had a string of bad coaches, and then we finally got a guy in here who was a good coach in Vrabel. Great? I don't know. But good for sure. And now I think most people are just fearful that we're about to go back to what we were before. And I get that. Nobody wants to go back to 2014, 2015. But I saw somebody on Twitter who said, I just don't want the Titans to be irrelevant again. What were we this year? Can you tell me? Like, you don't want to be irrelevant? Well, what are we now? We went 6-11. We haven't been in playoff contention in a month. We spent the last month of the season putting guys on IR and just pulling out random guys just to field a team. Is that not irrelevant to you? Everybody is gushing over CJ Stroud and the Texans. Just talking about, they're going to run this division for years. The Colts are, they put together a good season and now they're going to get Anthony Richardson back. Oh man, the Colts are going to come in here and they're going to be good. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they've got Trevor Lawrence. They're going to figure it out and they're going to come in here and they're going to be great. Nobody talks about the Titans. So I don't want to hear any of this about like, oh great, now that we fired Vrabel, we're going to be irrelevant. We're already irrelevant. Do you know how many times I have heard anybody on ESPN talk about the Tennessee Titans this year? Nobody has. Maybe for a little bit when Levis first came in and played well. That was at first. But other than that, no, nobody talking about the Titans. When they came back and beat Miami on that Monday night game, all anybody talked about was Miami. They didn't talk about the team that beat them. Pamela Ellis in the chat says, you were wrong. Yeah, I was wrong. I ain't scared to admit it. I absolutely was wrong because I spent all year saying they ain't firing Vrabel. They may need to have meetings. They need to get some things straightened out, but they ain't firing him. Hey, I was wrong. Just like I was wrong about Robinson, just like I was wrong about Malarkey, just like I was wrong about A.J. Brown. I'm wrong about this too. Volcano brings up a good point. One thing about it that does concern me is that now Will Levis in his second year in the league is going to have to learn a new offense. I do hate that. I'll tell you what I also hate. I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is going to want to come back. And I know he's supposed to. He's on a 2-year deal and he's got another year, but I mean, he's a respected player. And if he goes to them and says he doesn't want to be here next year, they will probably let him go. So I'm not saying he's not going to come back, but I am saying that Hopkins liked Vrabel, So I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying that's something you need to consider, is that Hopkins may not want to come back. And as far as the trade, people are wondering why we didn't try to trade Vrabel. And that's pretty much been confirmed that the trade was going to take too long. The trade was going to take too long to go through. And by the time it went through, everybody that the Titans would want to interview would probably already be hired. And speaking of that, I mean, there is a list of guys that are out there that everybody thinks the Titans should interview. Let me pull that list up. Paul Kaharski posted a list, and let me try to find that. Where's your list, Paul? Did he delete it? Wow, Paul. Appreciate you, bud. Nope, there it is. The main one is Bobby Slowick, offensive coordinator for Houston. Obviously with what he's done with C.J. Stroud in his rookie year, and the Texans offense, which nobody thought was going to be any good at all. That's an option. He also said 49ers running backs coach Bobby Turner. Obviously the 49er connection with Rand Carthon. One thing I want to see, regardless of who we hire as the head coach, I would like to see Rand Carthon, be visible in the public eye, because I feel like this guy did his introductory press conference, he did the draft, and then he disappeared. I mean, we ain't heard this guy. I don't even remember the last time I saw Rand Carthon in front of a camera, behind a microphone. There ain't nothing on their YouTube channel from Rand Carthon. I mean, you say whatever you want about John Robinson. At least he was engaged with, and I don't know what, he has a press conference today at 4, which is in a few hours, and you better believe I'm going to be watching that. But actually it's in 2 hours because it's 4 Eastern, 3 Central where I am. So, I'm going to tune in, but overall, I'm going to need to see Rand Carthon be a little more visible in the public eye. I like Rand. I think he had a good draft in his first year. I think he did some good things, bringing in Arden Key and Alshire and DeAndre Hopkins. He's done a good job, I think, so far. I would just like for him to be a little more visible to the fan base, and hopefully that starts today with his press conference. But ultimately, as far as this Vrabel stuff, I'm shocked. I'm totally shocked. I didn't think it would actually happen, even down to this morning. I was just waiting on the update that said, Titans and Vrabel agree to press forward and keep going. That's what I thought was going to happen. I was literally pulling up to drop my dog off at the groomers to get a bath, and that update came through that they fired him. And I'm stunned. And there's two ways you can look at it. You can look at it as doom and gloom. You can look at it as we're screwed and we're not going to be able to go forward. We're not going to be able to find a coach as good as Vrabel, and it's all downhill from here. Or you can look at it as, hey, our offense has been horrible. Our offense has been horrible for 2 years. Our offense has struggled to even put up 20 points in a game for 2 years. And let's not act like we haven't complained about Vrabel. I'm seeing a lot of people acting like Vrabel has just been a saint and done no wrong since he got no, I've seen a lot of complaining about Vrabel until today. And now everybody's just coming out of the woodworks to praise him. But Vrabel, I think, has been stubborn at times. I think there have been times when, changes needed to be made on a coaching staff, or changes needed to be made on the offensive line or the roster, and Vrabel took forever to do it. And somebody earlier said this, and I would echo this sentiment too. I still want to know why we waited until week 18 against the Jaguars to open up the playbook. That game Sunday against Jacksonville was the most, it was the most creative play calling we've had all year. Why did we wait till week 18? Why so often this season were we playing not to lose? I get the roster wasn't great. I don't know. I said it all year. I think Vrabel, I don't know. Vrabel had every right to say, what do you expect me to do with this roster? What do you want me to do with this? But I also think that Vrabel has done a lot with a little in his time in Nashville. The reason he won Coach of the Year 2 years ago is because he led the Titans to a 12-5 record with like more players on IR than any other team in the league. So like Vrabel is good at that. He is good at taking the underdog and bringing him to the forefront. He's good at that. I think Amy doesn't want to be underdogs anymore. Amy doesn't want to be. I mean, I'm not going to say I disagree with the vision that says, hey, we don't want to just be 9-8, 10-7. We want to be at the forefront. We want to be one of those teams at the forefront of the league every year. Great. I just hope she knows what she's doing to get us there, because if it's going away from Vrabel, tell you a name that I didn't say on that coaching, potential head coaching list is Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. I'd be interested in interviewing him. Obviously, some people want to interview Eric Bieniemy, who was the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. Then he was with Washington this year. Didn't quite. I don't think Bieniemy looked as good without Patrick Mahomes, but who would? Obviously, Washington's a much different situation. But I will say Kansas City and their offense didn't look as good without Bieniemy. So you could look at it one of two ways. Obviously, the name Jim Harbaugh is going to be thrown around. Good Lord. But there's a lot. I mean, this offseason, which was already going to be eventful, just became more eventful than we could have ever dreamed. I mean, we knew we were going to have a lot of cap space, be active in free agency and trades, a top 10 draft pick. We knew it was going to be active. We knew it was going to be a lot happening this offseason, but now we have upped the ante substantially, because not only do we have to find a new head coach, but we got to find a whole new staff. I don't think Tim Kelly's going to be back. You know how this goes. When a new head coach comes in, they're bringing in their own staff. They're bringing in their own staff. Like you're not going to have a head coach usually who comes in and says, hey, let's keep the old guys that we have and I'll just come fit in. No, you're going to get a guy who wants to bring in his own guys, most likely. He wants to bring in his own bunch. So there's a lot. This offseason is probably going to be more eventful than the regular season ever could have dreamed of being. And we got a lot to talk about in the coming days. I don't ever say this, but please make sure to subscribe to Two Tone Talk on YouTube. I would appreciate the sub, and we got a lot to talk about over the next few months as we go toward the draft, as we hire a new head coach, as we hire a new coaching staff. What's this mean for the players on the team? How's morale going to be with guys like Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry and guys who were still on the team from years ago with Vrabel? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Whew. This is a lot to take in. And this is something that became much more possible with every passing day, and now it has come to fruition. I haven't even really checked Twitter in the time that I've been on here, but as I said earlier, among Titans Twitter, it is like a bomb just went off. I mean, people are just beside themselves, and I'm one of them. But I think there's a good thing about this. There's some bad things about it. Obviously, you had a good coach in Vrabel. You had somebody that you knew could help you be competitive. And when you get rid of a guy that you know is good because you want to get somebody better, you always run the risk of bringing in somebody who's worse. You do. You run the risk of bringing in somebody who's not going to be as good as the guy you had. Even if the guy you had wasn't great, they were at least good. And especially if Vrabel goes somewhere else and tears it up, I mean, who knows? There's always the downside of, that's possible. I mean, I think I like Vrabel. I like Vrabel as a person. I like kind of the mentality that he's brought to the team. But with that being said, you get to a point where you've got to take the next step. And as Tighten Up Ohio just said in the chat, point blank, Vrabel hit his ceiling. Maybe so. That may have been it. Vrabel hit his ceiling. He came in. took over in 2019. They went on a miracle run to the AFC title game. 2020, Derrick Henry. I just posted on my channel the other day, every scoring play for the Titans from the last 6 years it's on my channel. I'm a psychopath, and that's why I put that together. But you can see in 2020 with Derrick Henry and AJ Brown, I mean, that was the best offense that they've had under Vrabel. And then in 2021, they go 12-5. They're the number 1 seed before getting really disappointed in the divisional round against Cincinnati. And then these last 2 years have not been great. And so maybe Vrabel did hit his ceiling. Maybe it is time for a fresh start. Maybe two things can be true at once. Maybe, yeah, Vrabel is a good coach, but it's time for the Titans to go in a new direction. Kind of like when you break up I keep comparing it to a breakup. When you break up with somebody and it's like, hey, it's not you. It's me. It's the classic line. Hey, it's not you. It's me. You're a good coach. You're a good guy. But for me, I need to go a new direction. I'm not getting everything that I need out of this. I want more, and we'll see how it turns out. I mean, maybe we hire the next Sean McVay or whatever, and we take off and we'll look back on this as a great day. Maybe Vrabel goes to another team and wins a Super Bowl, and we're left with the number 1 pick in the draft for 3 years in a row. I don't know, man, but I will tell you this. I guarantee you that Amy Strunk has looked at what has happened in Houston within our own division. She has looked at what happened in Houston and said, you know what? I believe we can do that. A 1-year rebuild. Houston went from being horrible to coming in this year, and they win the AFC South, and they're going to the playoffs. I have no doubt Amy looked at that and said, if they can do it, we can do it. And we'll see. But, I mean, I feel like from 1 minute to the next 1 minute, I'm like, man, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Then the next minute, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this is a good thing to do. Maybe I need to sleep on it and see how I feel in the morning. But for right now, I see people in the chat who have points both ways. Some people swear this is the dumbest thing we've ever done. Some people swear it's the smartest thing we've ever done. And I'm willing to listen out to both sides because I think there's a point to be made both ways. If you're pretending Vrabel was a bad coach, you're wrong. He's not a bad coach at all. But if you're pretending that Vrabel is just the savior of the world, I think that's a little far-fetched too. And I think it's an offensive league now. You got to be able to score points. You got to be able to get a ton of yards. And the Titans haven't been doing that for 2 years. And I think that was the death knell. That old school, let's run the football and play good defense. I mean, even the Browns with Joe Flacco aren't doing that. Even though they have a great defense, they're still scoring points. So, the Titans have got to totally adapt the offense, and this is the time to do it. With Derrick Henry leaving and our previous identity is gone, this is the time to change it up and start over afresh and anew. So time will tell. Time will tell. With A.J. Brown, it was like, yeah, we will look back on this as a dark day. With Mike Vrabel, I don't know. I don't know if we'll look back on it as a dark day. We could, but I'm at least a little bit optimistic that, I just think back to all those Sundays this fall when a game ended and I just sat there wanting to, like I said earlier, bang my head against the wall. How many Sundays have I sat here and watched the Titans just fall on their face offensively? Amy watched it too, I guess, and said, I've had enough of watching this. I've had enough of watching our offense struggle to score. I've had enough of watching our offense make getting yards seem like the hardest thing in the world. I'm not going to blame her for that. We should all be frustrated at that. That should annoy all of us. And there's no need to feel bad for Vrabel. He's going to land on his feet. He'll be he'll be a head coach within the next week probably for somebody else. And good on him. He deserves that. But I'm not going to say it's a wrong mindset to say that the Titans need to go in another direction right now. I mean, I can't say that's a far-fetched thing to think, because based on the last 2 years, head coaches are paid to win. We hadn't been winning. So, of course we need to go in another direction. And apparently Amy didn't think that Vrabel was going to take us there. So, onward and upward, man. I said it earlier on Twitter. One thing you better know. At the end of the day, whoever the coach is when the Titans take the field in September, whoever's on the roster, you better believe I'm going to be sitting right there watching, cheering with the utmost devotion, because I'm a fan of the Titans. I support the Titans. Not any certain coach, not any certain player. I am a Tennessee Titans fanatic, regardless of coach or players. And that's not going to change. I am going to support whoever the new coach is. I'm going to root for this team. I don't care if the quarterback come September is Nathan Peterman. I will be sitting there supporting. So there you go. As Soul Snatcher just said in the chat, I love the Tennessee Titans. I've put too much money into the merchandise that I've bought for this team to jump ship now. I wish Vrabel the best. I truly do. I wish Vrabel the best, and I know he's going to land on his feet with no problem at all. And I just don't think it's the end of the world like some Titans fans do. I don't think it's the end of the world. It's surprising. It does make me a little uneasy because I just hope Amy's not out of her mind. But, I think it's, I think there's some good stuff that she said in her statement. I think there's some encouraging stuff that she said in her statement that should encourage Titans fans, even if you're iffy about the decision. I like what she had to say, especially toward the end about, we want to be at the forefront. We don't want to just have more wins and losses. We want to be right in the mix every year. Hey, me too. Me too. Man, what a day. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll be back Friday. Who knows what'll happen by then, but we got a lot to talk about in the coming days, and you better believe we will. This is the Two-Tone Talk by God Pod, staying way too high on the wins, way too low on the losses. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless you. Tighten up. Bye.
Feel free to be whoever